On the news tonight, Governor Adeleke reiterates commitment to infrastructural development in Osun. Pro-tax reforms swell in ranks as Senate widens consultation. Court orders arrest of ex-AMCOM managing director over fraud allegation. And from the foreign scene, Congolese army warn residents over attacks by rebel group. Good evening and welcome to Major Report. I am Kayode Adebayo. Osun State Governor Senator Ademola Adeleke has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to infrastructural development and continuity in governance. Governor Adeleke stated this during the commissioning of the newly completed dualization of testing ground Elisha Garage Road, undertaken by his Oyo State counterpart, Engineer Seyi Makinde. Governor's Office correspondent Oluwatu Biloba Odunuga completes the story.
As part of the activities marking the second anniversary, Osun State Governor Senator Ademola Adeleke has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to infrastructure development and continuity in governance as the Oyo State Governor Engineer Seyi Makinde commissioned the newly completed dualization of the roundabout testing ground Elisha Garage Road in Osogbo, the state capital. In his address, Governor Adeleke described the project as a testament to his administration's dedication to improving the state's infrastructure and addressing the needs of the people. The governor praised former Governor Rauf Aregbesola for initiating the Osogbo Ring Road project, which his administration has completed after years of abandonment. Governor Adeleke emphasizing his resolve to complete inherited projects, including roads, educational facilities, and other infrastructure, highlighted the significance of the dualized road for economic growth and public safety, noting that its completion had already reduced traffic gridlock and fatal accidents in the area. However, the governor expressed concern over reckless driving on newly constructed roads and directed security agencies to enforce traffic regulation strictly.
At the inception of our administration, I have promised my God and the people of Osun State that I will not abandon project inherited from my predecessors. It is my considered view that a public project and public asset which must not be wasted on the altar of political vendettas.
In his remarks before commissioning the road project, Oyo State Governor Engineer Seyi Makinde appreciated the governor for his good work, saying Governor Adeleke has impacted the state development in huge form. Governor Makinde, who congratulated his counterpart for delivering dividends of democracy to the people of the state, and enjoined all and sundry to continue to support the administration of Governor Adeleke in the state. He further charged the people to give the governor more work to do for another 4 years, reiterating his confidence in Governor Adeleke's administration.
I asked my brother, I said, how many kilometers of light up have you done? And he told me they've done 250 kilometers. I started with a proof of concept, 20 kilometers in Oyo State, the first phase. The second phase, 250 kilometers. And then this next phase, I think we've done about 50, 60 kilometers more. But the point I'm trying to make is, I did all of this in 6 years. He has done 250 kilometers in 2 years.
It is essential for motorists to adhere to the established rules and regulations governing road usage, as any motorist found in violation will be held accountable and face the full extent of the law. The commissioning, which had the attendance of who in the state and beyond, including the Speaker of Osun State Assembly, Honorable Adewale Egbedu, Secretary to the Osun State Government, Alhaji Teslim Igbalaye, Chief of Staff to the Governor, Alhaji Kazim Akinleye, and other members of the State Executive Council, members of the National Assembly, Osun PDP Chairman Honorable Sunday Bisi, and monarchs among others, marks another achievement in Governor Adeleke's administration as he celebrates 2 years in office, with several other projects slated for completion and unveiling in the coming weeks. It has been Oluwa Tobiloba Odunuga reporting.
Osun State House of Assembly has asked the ministries, departments, and agencies of government to intensify efforts at increasing their internally generated revenue. This represents the views of the lawmakers while speaking during the budget defense exercise of some ministries, as well as tertiary institutions in the state. Parliamentary reporter Oluwatosin Oladokun has more.
The need for ministry, departments, agencies of government to increase its IGR drive was the talking point as the budget defense exercise progresses. Earlier in his address, Chairman House Committee on Finance and Appropriation, Honorable Olumide Fatumse, had disclosed that 2025 State Appropriation Bill, otherwise known as Money Bill, will be decisively looked into and effectively scrutinized. He said what is paramount to Honorable Adewale Egbedon's led 8th Assembly is to ensure that a budget that will favor the yearnings and aspirations of all and sundry. Olumide Fatumse also said that ongoing year index budget performance through prudent and proper management of the state resources by Governor Adeleke has indeed transformed and rebuilt the state in all spheres.
Let us remain steadfast in our commitment to upholding fiscal responsibility, accountability, and integrity in all our financial decisions.
While speaking, members of the state parliament, among whom were Honorables Adekunle Oladimeji, Babajide Koforola, Tajuddin Adeyemi, Eliza Oderenwale, Bamdele Lawal, Adeyemi Adeomi, and the Chairman House Committee on Education, Honorable Sikiru Bajepade, acknowledged what they describe as transformative initiatives of the Vice Chancellor of Osun State University, Professor Clement Odunayo. Lawmakers also took advantage of the session to seek clarification on the level of social responsibility services of the State Ministry of Justice and quick dispensation of justice, just as the state of the customary court of appeal across the state. Oluwatosin Oladogun, OSBC News.
Away from Osun, President Bola Tinubu has called for a sustained collaboration and cooperation between Nigeria and South Africa to drive the development and progress of the African continent. He spoke as co-chairman at the 11th session of Nigeria-South Africa Binational Commission. Tinubu emphasized the shared responsibility of the two nations to lead Africa towards a brighter future, highlighting the long-standing ties between the two countries. He noted that successive governments in Nigeria and South Africa have consistently recognized the importance of their partnership. President Tinubu stressed that the bond between the two nations is rooted not only in shared history, but also in their key roles as African leaders. President Tinubu described the collaboration as a historical necessity and an obligation to the African people, underscoring its importance for addressing the continent's challenges and binding its potentials. Nigeria and South Africa have fully operationalized the Joint Ministerial Advisory Council on Industry, Trade and Investment to enhance economic cooperation between the two leading African economies. President Cyril Ramaphosa disclosed the decision in Cape Town, South Africa, at the Nigerian-South African Business Roundtable. In a statement by presidential spokesman Bayo Onanuga, President Bola Tinubu at the roundtable assured that Nigeria is open for business and ready to provide stability, security, and the rule of law for businesses to thrive. At the event attended by business leaders, government officials, and trade stakeholders, President Tinubu expressed commitment to address issues discouraging South African investors from growing their businesses and franchises in Nigeria and called on South Africa to reciprocate by allowing Nigerian companies to operate and flourish in South Africa. He assured that Nigerian officials will continue collaborating with South African counterparts to facilitate the implementation of the agreed mandates under the Binational Commission. President Cyril Ramaphosa has disclosed that South Africa will support the bid of Nigeria to become a member of the G20 Club of the world's major economies. Ramaphosa gave the promise at the official launch of South Africa's presidency of the G20 in Cape Town a few minutes before he received President Tinubu at Tuinyus to co-chair the 11th Binational Commission between Nigeria and South Africa in Cape Town. Tinubu's Special Advisor on Information Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, revealed this in a statement titled, South Africa hides Nigeria's lithium for electric vehicle revolution backs Nigeria bid to join G20. The South African leader reiterated this stance during his tete-a-tete with President Tinubu and the expanded meeting with officials of both countries at the BNC. The G20, or Group of 20, is a premier international forum for economic cooperation, bringing together the world's major advanced and emerging economies. The group addresses critical global issues including economic growth, financial stability, climate change, sustainable development, and trade. G20 summits are attended by heads of state, finance ministers, and central bank governors, fostering dialogue and coordinated action while the presidency rotates annually among its members, with the host countries setting the agenda and priorities for the year. Following controversy trailing the tax reforms bill, President Bola Tinubu has directed the Ministry of Justice to work closely with the National Assembly to address the concerns raised by Nigerians. The president, who is in South Africa, handed down the review order as some northern youth stormed the National Assembly in support of the bills. The bills, the Nigerian Tax Bill 2024, the Nigeria Tax Administration Bill, the Nigeria Revenue Service Establishment Bill, and the Joint Revenue Board Establishment Bill have generated hot debate and contention across the country, with northern governors and lawmakers opposed to their passage. Critics argue that the reforms could disrupt the balance of fiscal federalism, potentially centralizing tax authority and diminishing state revenues. However, in a move to assuage the high emotion over the reform bills, Tinubu directed the Federal Ministry of Justice and relevant officials who worked on the draft to collaborate with the National Assembly to address all genuine concerns before the bills are passed. Manufacturers have joined forces with advocates of tax reforms on the passage of the tax reform bills before the National Assembly, just as the outspoken Catholic Bishop Asan Kuka also supported the bills, thereby swelling the ranks of those backing the bold move for fiscal transformation by the federal government. President Bola Tinubu has directed the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Lateef Fagbemi to work with the National Assembly to clarify the gray areas. According to the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, the President's directive was to ensure that all genuine concerns have been addressed before the bills are passed. The Senate, where the bills are in committee stage, said that consultations will be widened before the public hearing, while the Senate Committee on Finance was given 6 weeks to work on the bills and conduct the public hearing. Idris added that the robust nationwide debate on the new tax reform bills currently before the National Assembly is welcomed and commendable, saying it will correct misinformation and fake news on the bills and the overall reform agenda of the Tinubu administration. He said the president is implementing an ambitious fiscal reform agenda that will devolve more resources to the state and local governments and ultimately to the Nigerian people in the spirit of harnessing democracy that works for the people. President of Nigeria Economic Society, Professor Adeola Adenikeju, President of Nigeria Association of Macroeconomic Modelers, Professor Philip Alege, and a former Director General of Nigerian Institutes for Social and Economic Research, Professor Olu Ajakaye, have called on the federal government to integrate local experts into policy-making processes. They emphasized the need for Nigerian professionals to peer review the recommendations of foreign experts and institutions, urging the government to avoid over-reliance on bodies such as the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. Speaking at the third annual hybrid NAMM International Conference in Ibadan, themed Macroeconomic Modeling and Data Science for Socio-Economic Development, Professor Adenikeju highlighted the importance of engaging Nigerian economic associations and experts in the formulation of policies to ensure they align with the country's socio-economic realities. On his part, Professor Ajakaye, who is of African Center for Shared Development Capacity Building in Ibadan, said government needed to do more in terms of using models in decision-making and involvement of local macroeconomic modelers. The former DG of Nigerian Institute for Social and Economic Research said the federal government is listening to advice from the funds, the bank, and other development partners and organizations with suggestions coming from their models, noting that the understanding of the workings of Nigerian economy may not be exactly what it is in their models. The House of Representatives Committee on Polytechnics and other higher technical education has raised concerns over the Federal Polytechnic, UGEP, Cross River State, spending 600 million naira on personnel salaries and overhead costs in a single budget cycle despite having only 142 students. Chairman of the committee, Fuhad Laguda, expressed displeasure, particularly over the 38 million naira spent on local travels by the authorities of the Polytechnic, established in 2021, which employs 154 academic and non-academic staff. The institution's rector, Edward Oke, appeared before the committee to defend the 2024 budget performance, in which he explained that the Polytechnic used its 2 billion naira take-off grant to renovate the dilapidated structures of the UGEP Community Secondary School, which served as its temporary campus. He added that part of the grant was used to initiate 10 projects at the institution's permanent site, which are currently at various stages of completion. However, the rector highlighted the challenges of attracting students and staff to UGEP due to stigmas associated with the town. A committee member described the spending as wasteful and unsustainable, questioning the justification for such high expenditure relative to the student population. The immediate past governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, has been linked to the massive Abuja property with 753 duplexes and other apartments located in the cadastral zone area of the capital city by court papers filed by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. The anti-graft agency announced the recovery of the property from an unnamed ex-government top brass, describing the property as the biggest single recovery it had made in the course of fighting corruption since its establishment in 2003. The recovery followed a ruling delivered by Justice Jude Onwubuzi of the FCTI Court in Abuja. In the court document obtained by newsmen, the EFCC ran a narration linking Emefiele to the massive property spanning 150,500 square meters and identified as Plot 109 Cadastral Zone 609, Lokogoma District in Abuja. Emefiele is currently being prosecuted by the EFCC in 3 separate cases before different courts in Abuja and Lagos. According to the document, Emefiele allegedly carried out monumental fraud as the CBN governor with his cronies to acquire several properties, including the estate. The Lagos State Special Offences Court in Ikeja has issued a bench warrant against the former managing director of the Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria, Ahmed Kuru, over alleged 76 billion naira and $31.5 million of fraud. Justice Mojisola Dada ordered Kuru's arrest for failing to appear before the court for his arraignment by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. The court had scheduled to arraign Kuru along with the managing director of Arik Air, Captain Roy Ilegbodu, the receiver manager of Arik, Kamilu Omokide, Union Bank PLC, and the company Super Bravo Limited for alleged 76 billion naira and $31.5 million fraud. They are facing 6 counts bordering on making a false statement, fraudulent conversion, abuse of office, stealing, and dishonest conversion of property. According to the EFCC, the offenses committed contravene Section 96 of the Criminal Law of Lagos State 2015 and Sections 278 subsection 1B and 278 subsection 6 of the Criminal Law of Lagos State 2011. However, the arraignment could not go on due to the absence of Kuru and his lead counsel, Olasupo Shasore SAN, while other defendants were represented by their lawyers. The Federal Capital Territory Police Command has announced a clampdown on vehicles with tinted windows and covered number plates as part of effort to curb rising criminal activities such as kidnapping. In a statement, the command spokesperson, SP Josephine Hade, warned vehicle owners in the FCT to remove any tinted glass from their vehicles or face the risk of having their cars impounded. The FCT Commissioner of Police, Olatunji Disu, also reiterated the directive during the parade of suspects, noting that many of the victims rescued from kidnappers had cited the use of tinted windows as a factor that made it difficult for people to identify them as being in distress. He explained that criminals often took advantage of vehicles with covered number plates to carry out their operations without being traced, adding that tinted glass is contributing to a lot of lawlessness. The CP warned that the enforcement of the ban on tinted windows, covered number plates, and unregistered vehicles will be vigorously pursued. The Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, has revealed that Nigerian Air Force has acquired 63 brand new aircraft over the past 3 years. The Air Staff Chief disclosed this at the NAV Training Operations and Safety Seminar held in Abuja, noting that the remarkable renewal of the NAV fleet and improved operational readiness are achieved with the support of the President Bola Tinubu. He further stated that in the past year, the NAV has taken delivery of 12 advanced aircraft, including 2 KA-3601 aircraft, 4 DA-62 aircraft, 4 T-129 helicopters, and 2 AW-109 Trekker helicopters. Mr. Abubakar added that the service is expecting further deliveries before the end of the year, including 2 additional T-129 helicopters and 1 KA-3601 aircraft. He described the current period as a golden era for Nigerian Air Force, pledging to consolidate the operational gains achieved so far. The Air Force Chief commended Air Component commanders for their leadership and urged them to build on their successes. You are now welcome to our sports segment. The Nigerian Table Tennis Federation is set to organize a 2-day national coaching seminar on leadership and management skill, which will take place in December in Mowe, Ogun State. The seminar aims to enhance the capabilities of Nigerian table tennis coaches with a particular emphasis on female coaches, aligning with the International Table Tennis Federation's Gender Equality, Diversity and Inclusion Initiative. It is part of 1-week sports and leadership boot camp titled Awaken the Giants, supported by NTTF. The seminar also represents the third stage of the 2024 program, which has table tennis star Abosede Akinshete as a beneficiary. NTTF President Tikon Ishaku, Vice President Adesoji Tayo, and other board members are dedicated to initiatives to support the development of coaches. ITTF Executive Vice President and President of ITTF Africa, Ene Tonshudi, reaffirmed his commitment to empowering women in sports in line with the GEDI initiative. The seminar will feature speakers who will address critical topics under leadership and management skills, aimed at enhancing coaches' ability to identify and develop talent, foster high-performance table tennis players capable of competing globally, and contribute to sustainable development goals. And now from the foreign scene, Congolese army has called on residents to remain vigilant and avoid isolated places following the killing and kidnappings of civilians in the country. Taiwo Ayola has the details of this and more from the foreign scene. Our report.
Rebels linked to an Islamic State group has killed at least 9 people and has kidnapped several others in Tenabo village in the North Kivu province of Congo. Spokesperson for the army, Colonel Mark Azuke, made the announcement in a statement just as the deputy major of Oicha, Jean Kimbwana, told newsmen that the militants also set houses on fire and kidnapped 3 people in the village. Eastern Congo has struggled with armed violence for decades as more than 120 groups fight for power, land, and valuable mineral resources, while others try to defend their communities. Meanwhile, right groups and United Nations have accused the Allied Democratic Forces of killing hundreds of people and abducting even more, including a significant number of children. The French minister, Michel Barnier, has said that it is possible that he could survive a no-confidence vote in his minority government. Opposition parties have tabled the motion to oust the former Brexit negotiator after he had used special powers to force through the budget without a vote. In the interview with newsmen, Barnier pleaded his case before the public, saying that he remained open to the budget. Talks with opposition parties, despite being widely predicted to lose vote. The French minister also rejected the idea that the president Emmanuel Macron should resign to unblock the country's current crisis, calling him a guarantee of stability. France has been beset by political uncertainty since Macron called snap elections over the summer, which resulted in a hung parliament where no group had absolute majority. Syrian President Bashar al-Assad forces are reportedly engaged in fierce battles with rebels on the outskirts of the major city of Hama. A monitoring group said that the Islamist militant group Hayat Tahrir al-Sham and its allies were at the gates of Hama, but added that the military had retaken several villages in a counterattack backed by intense airstrikes. Reports say troops had pushed back the rebels north of the city, but the rebels denied losing any ground. Hama is 101 kilometers south of Aleppo, which the rebels captured last week after relaunching a surprise offensive from their stronghold in northwest. Taiwo Ayola reporting for OSBC News.
And with that story from the foreign scene, we'll conclude our major report on OSBC TV tonight. I am Kayode Adebayo. Thank you for watching and good night.